Is live. Good morning, everybody. It's Jeff with Simply Derivative, and welcome to our live stream. We're going to be doing the pre-market prep, basically go over our daily trade plan real quick, and then trade for about an hour through the open of the U.S. markets. And we're going to be day trading the ES here today. That's about it. Talk about the other markets, but for now we're just going to look at the ES and go over that. So bigger picture, let's go to the daily chart. Let's clean this stuff up in here. Basically, we are still in a range, back up, sitting around at 2,800. You can see we're stuck in these highs right up in here. Have not been able to get through them quite yet, and a decent sized pullback the other day. Yesterday was not great trading. And then today in the overnight, it does not look great either. So volume, 186,000 contracts on the light side, nothing spectacular. So we'll see if we can get some type of opportunity today here in the ES. If not, it's just one of those days until we either break above this 2,800 with some conviction, this 2812, 2815 area, or we break down lower. Regardless, either side is not seeing price scream through it, so we're gonna have to wait and see. Let's see here. Right. Just want to make sure everything is good. You guys can hear. Right. Cool. Let's go down to the 60-minute chart here. Previous day high is 27.99. Previous day low is 83.25. Tight little range that we're stuck in after that big sell-off on Monday. We retraced about half of that, and then yesterday going into today, we've basically been stuck in about a 15-point range. And so we're going to see if we can break out of that. So a couple areas to pay attention to. Previous close was 91.50. We actually had a gap down in the reset period yesterday going into the overnight session. Broke down a little bit and then filled that gap, and we're basically back where we were yesterday. We're flat actually on the day as we speak. The open for this candle on the Globex in the day session, 86.50. We have about 10 minutes before the market opens. Couple of areas to pay attention to. Below 81.50, we're going to be looking for prices possibly to get back into really this base that was put in after the drop, which then led to the market rallying up. Hasn't been tested yet. A couple times we've gotten down into this wick, which was basically floating on top of this candle, this big green candle, this explosive candle, and held. Then to the upside, we have some room really to go past 2,800. It's just that psychological number, that big round number, 2,800. Looks like it's providing some resistance for us. A bunch of trading going on in both directions, really. Right in here, right in here. Not a lot of quality in terms of finding setups, finding levels to lean on. We're going to have to kind of wait until we see the market form some new levels for us before we can really get excited about anything at the very moment. Hopefully we don't have a day like we did yesterday where it was just literally range bound and not much going on. Even though there are opportunities in markets like that, they're not the greatest. Profit margins are smaller. Your risk is going to be, well, your risk amounts are going to be the same. You got to keep those the same for the most part, but the probabilities tend to be closer to a 50-50 shot than what our edge usually gives us. So you just got to know what type of trading environment you're in. And for us, this little range bound stuff is not the greatest. Um, Going back to this chart before we get off the 60-minute, let's take a look here and just um, highlight something for you guys. If I can grab this box. So what we do is basically we divide up our charts into three areas. Sorry, my voice is a little raspy this morning, guys. We like to divide our charts up into three areas just to kind of see where we're at. You can do this really on any time frame, but bigger time frames are obviously going to be a better option for us. And so basically what is the point of doing this? We want to see where we're at in bigger picture. We're trying to find a location of where we're at relative to where prices have been previously. And so you can basically just highlight the three sections on a price chart. Down here in this low section, you're going to be looking for longs. Longs down in here. You're going to be looking for shorts up in here. And then in the middle, do nothing. Don't diddle in the middle, is what we like to say. Why? Again, the probabilities, if you think about it, are just going to be lower because you're stuck in a range and we're kind of waiting for price discovery to take us to either the high side or the low side, in this case on the 60-minute chart. When you're in the range, you can see this chop, how it just goes back and forth. We don't really like to participate in this type of action. What we're looking for is we want to find these bigger moves up in here. Nice big move down. Nice rally up. And so the point of dividing up your charts is just to get an idea of where we're at, bigger picture, so you can kind of get an idea of what you should be looking for opportunity-wise. So if you got current market price coming back down into these lows, you should be looking to get long. Why? Price is based out and rallied up out of this area. So we can expect, at least for the first time that when price comes back into this area, that buyers will step in again and rally it up. Same thing with the shorts up here. Prices clearly fell from this area. You can see that. Means there's more sellers than buyers. And so when price gets back up into this area for the first time, we can expect, with a high degree of probability, that we can get some sort of pullback out of this area. And so that's why we preach really staying out of the middle and just focusing on the extremes. The extremes are where the turning points are at. The turning points are what produce the bigger moves, and those are the type of trades that we're looking for. Does that make sense, guys?
Yes, sir.
Cool. So for today, clean this up here. Go back to the 15-minute. On the 15-minute now, you can see this was yesterday's trading action. Nice little range, 95 down to 85 basically. Yesterday's range, again in another tight range in the Globex session, and this overnight trading, you can see from here to here. Oh, I have to adjust this now since we poked up a little bit higher. Created this 92.75 area as the overnight high for now. Okay. Overnight high basically closes gap that we got from the overnight session on the reset period. Retrace that. This was basically back up to the area where prices had trouble getting above in this 92, 93 area and staying above it. You can see we closed a few times above and then immediately sold off 1, 2, 3 times, 4 times really yesterday from this area. Now that price has done this multiple times from this area, don't know how many buyers or excuse me, sellers are left in this particular spot, and so we'd probably want to see. Uh, there we go. The markets are open. The market rally up past these highs and get stuck up in this little basing action up in here. All right, so the market's just opened up. Let's take a look here and see. No econ data really to come out today. Got the Fed, somebody in the Fed talking later, and then crude oil inventories. Crude is actually down 50 cents right now. But that's not until 7:30. We're going to see what that wants to do. 5-minute .D chart. Let's bring that up. No, it's not locked. You guys can see we basically are opening up right at yesterday's close. For a long opportunity, have this highlighted. Didn't really go over it in the pre-market, but I'll talk about it right now. Basically in this range of the overnight trading that we have right in here, you finally have an opportunity, or you finally had price come down, stall out base, and then rally up, and you have a nice strong move up from about 86 up to 92. It's only about 6 points, but given the lack of movement that we've been having, going back to yesterday, 6 points is not all that bad considering you're stuck in a range for, 5 to 10 points for most of a day. So there's a little bit of an opportunity. Let's see if they want to sell this off and then come back down into this area before rallying up. I suspect we may have another one of these type of days that we had yesterday, very range bound and slow moving, unless some sort of headline comes out and you can see the market take off in either direction. Okay, there we go. It's coming down.
Is my microphone on as well?
Yeah, you're good, Tori. Yep,
Okay, good.
yep, you're on.
Just making sure. Didn't know if I was radio silent or what.
No, you're good. You're on. You are on. At least, yeah, it looks like it.
Good morning, then.
A little bit of a doji right here on this 15, not a doji, but um, basically an indecision candle. I say that because it's almost like a doji. You got wicks on both sides with a small base in between. Um, that can lend itself to supporting price or rejecting price in either direction. If this was on the flip side and prices were coming up to this area, you may want to consider this as a possible spot to watch price to see if it can uh, or how it reacts off of it, kind of thing. 86.50 is the open. Yeah. We didn't really look for a trap. Let's take a look and see what a trap would look like. So a trap is basically using the Globex high and the Globex low relatively close to when the market opens, regular trading hours. Prices will either trade above the Globex high, it gets stuck in some resistance and then sell off after taking out the high, or vice versa. Prices will come down, take the low out, and then hold based on a previous day area of demand or support. And so for us right now, not really seeing anything. Let's just label this up. Globex low, Globex high. All right. This is a little bit higher up in here, but that's fine. Got a bunch of little wicks in the tops of these candles pointing up into this area. Price has never been back up here. You got 2800 right above it. This may be an area for price to get up to, and you can see some selling pressure come back in. On the demand side for trap wise, basically got this little area in here. Price is sold off, based out, rallied up nice and strong, paused, retested, took off again, and you can see the market rallying up. You got a couple wicks pointing down, meaning that there could be some buyers still below here. If prices were able to hold this and not get through this and then rally up further, clearly shows that there are some buyers in here. And so there's a possibility that if we take out the Globex low, that we could come back into this area and see it hold. Once it holds, we get a sign, a signal, based on a candlestick formation or price action itself to get long. But we got to get through these areas first before we can even look at that. There we go, prices go. Let's see here. So if we look at the day session only chart, this was the first 5 minutes now. Right in there, right? Yep. Okay, let's lock that up. 75, 50. Alright, pushing down. In here is not the greatest areas to be looking for buyers to come in. Everything is a retest and a hold. We're looking for some fresh new buyers to come in. That 80 area down in here. What did we have marked off? We had 86, didn't we? Take a look. 86 to 84, yeah.
All the fresh new buyers, please come on in.
Yeah. We'll see. We shall see. Are we going to have another inside day? Nah. Not exactly. We're actually, we dipped down below yesterday's low briefly in the overnight, but have held, and so we're still going to treat this day almost like an inside day. Just because of the lack of conviction, lack of volume in either direction, it's just not great. And so we're just going to need to be patient and wait.
Had a few options alerts go off today too.
Nice. We'll take a look at those here in a little bit. Yeah, for you guys that don't know, we actually trade options as well, mostly on equity index options, SPYs and SPX and the other index ETFs, Qs, Russells. Not so much the Dow. VWAP at 2787. So we keep track of the first 5 minutes as well of trading. Price tends to revert back to this area quite a bit once we establish somewhat of a direction in either direction. Prices will tend to revert back to this area on either side, and then depending on what type of day it is, it will hold like it's holding now to the downside. Basically, we closed below the first 5 minutes. That's telling me that we may want to continue to move down a little bit here. Yeah, again, this is not great price action to be looking to get long in. Everything is a retest. This rallied up, retested out of here. This rallied up, retested out of here. This rallied up, retested out of here. And you get the picture. What does that mean? All the buyers are gone. And so, potentially, if you were going to rate your trades, this would be a low rating of a trade setup, if it is even qualified as a setup. For us, it's not a setup. There's nothing in here that we would deem worthy of looking at. You'd have to get back lower, down in these prices, below 80. You can see how these little speed bumps, I guess this one was tested. This one wasn't tested really. You can consider this coming down and grabbing it before moving up, but nothing spectacular. Yeah, prices somewhere in here may be an option. There's two ways that you can hop on board trades. Really two ways. You can identify a predefined level. Let's say we like this price structure. Why? Because prices fell off from here quite nicely. So you can have a predefined set level and simply execute your orders at or near or in these zones with the stop above. Or you can, let's say you're unsure or you don't have a clearly defined price structure that you want to lean against. You can basically, let's say that you believe that prices will hold in something that looks like this in this area. So let prices come down into it and then wait for almost confirmation on some candlestick formations on price action and let it form out and basically let the market tell you that it's getting ready to rally up in this case, since this would be a long opportunity. So those are the two ways that we approach our entries and how we get in. And so, not saying one is better than the other, but there's just a couple ways to do it. And it really just depends on what type of environment we're in, what the market looks like it wants to do, um, volume, volatility, etc. So, market environment factors go into deciding what type of entry you're going to take. Back in here. The small. That's fine. So we came back down into this area, this 86 to 84 quarter, like we talked about. Strong move up out of here. I'd like to see it get a little bit deeper in this area before initiating anything. Taking a look at the other markets, VIX is slightly up, S&P is basically flat, Nasdaq flat, Russell flat, everything's slightly down to flat to start the day. If we have trading like we did yesterday, then we can expect to basically be stuck in this 10-point range. 92.75 is the high, 81.50 is the low. You're looking at basically 11 points, 10 points. And so, yeah, let's pray something news comes out or something. Let's get the market moving a little bit here. Take a look at this 15. Yeah, basically getting stuck in these wicks from yesterday's lows. which again was just a retest off of this move up. Almost like we're rounding out on the top here. Not getting any closes above 95.50. Do we want to retest the lows? Is what the chart's kind of looking like at the moment. Better opportunity may be to take this thing short if we get prices back into this opening range. Basically have that little gap fill right in there that it hit when the market opened, sold off. Next candle is close below, followed by another close below. 15-minute prices clearly got rejected above 92. You can see we sold off. Just trying to hold right in here. So now we have the first 5 minutes clearly defined, 88.50 up to 90.75. First 15 minutes defined as well. 85.75 is a low, 90.75 was the high. 5-point range on this first 15 minutes. 2-point range on the first 5 minutes. Check this 60-minute on the .D. Yeah. This, it doesn't look like it wants to hold, at least right now. We're basically in these wicks right in here at this very moment. In terms of quality, not the greatest. Again, you guys can basically rate your trades, grade your trades, and higher quality trade setups, like down in here back at 70, where you have a couple gap ups, price couldn't quite get back into that area, another rally up, and then a nice big sell-off into this area that had not been touched. That would be an A grading for a setup. Whereas this, getting stuck in the wicks on some chop after a move up, you're looking at maybe a C or a D rating if you had your grade scale kind of thing. Um, a much better opportunity would be much lower, is what I'm trying to say. You got nice, big, explosive candles to the downside. Price holds, retraces, basically gets a little bit higher than this break in these two candles, and then stalls out. So we're kind of waiting again. We already did this on the 60-minute, but do it again here. We're kind of diddling in the middle at the moment. Not really what we want to trade against or trade with, and so just gonna be patient. This was one of the issues that Tori and I were talking about pre-market before we started the stream was, are we just gonna stay range bound, and if so, boy, this is gonna be a fun day. Yeah, so that's where I was a little hesitant on this level. See, I mean, it popped up for a few points, point and a half, but clearly we're having some weakness here. What we were thinking maybe bigger picture was that this move, which took out this high in here above 2800 and then reversed and closed lower, was going to be an intermediate short-term top possibly. You have a small uh, inside day that followed that big down move, and now we're seeing possibly, we're seeing it move down now. We're seeing possibly some more weakness to get back down to these lows. If that's the case, then you almost have this intermediate top right in here. Price has rallied up, a couple attempts at making highs. Price clearly got rejected and now is moving lower. So you combine that with the fact that we've had basically a 20% rally in all markets from the lows late December. You know, we are due for somewhat of a pullback. And it's just a matter of waiting for that signal, that confirmation. I know there's a bunch of lines on here. Sorry, guys. I don't keep it, typically don't keep it on the daily, so that's why it just looks a little jumbled there. Prices are moving down now. Testing yesterday's low, 83 quarter. We got a bit of a hammer candle here at the overnight low, 82.75, 81.50. Yeah, this is not great trading to lean against. So let's wait for that trap, possibly. That's what it looks like it's coming down to. 81 down to 77. Possibly price will hold up in here. Let's see on a 10-minute.
Possible areas of strength.
Yeah, down in here.
Yeah. Got a four point range right there.
Yeah, I'd wait for it to come in here. See if it wants to hold. Bunch of little retests on its way up. Nothing spectacular in terms of a nice strong move away. Not until you get back down to closer to the base, which was 73. But you know, we're gonna we're gonna kind of treat it like an inside day, and so if we can put in a low, we could possibly lean on that and get long. Watch it retrace to the highs again. So we just took out the Globex low, dipped below it, no close below it yet. Go down to the 5-minute. Now that we've taken out the Globex low, when I mean taking it out, the price went through it. We're going to see what this candle wants to do in this 5-minute. Potential for us to basically base out here in and around this Globex low and see prices trade back up towards the Globex high. Remember, we have to keep in mind what type of trading environment we are in. And we talked about, you know, this being somewhat of an inside day, close to it. So if that's the case, once the low is established, if the low holds, chances are we'll drift back up towards the high. Very similar to what happened yesterday. Market opened up, sold off, put in a low, tried to rally up, couldn't, retested the low, held, tried to rally up, couldn't, retested the low again, held, finally came back up, tested towards the highs, actually took out the high or the open, and then proceeded to sell up, excuse me, back towards the lows again, and you can see what happened. Did it multiple times. This is the truest definition of an inside day. If you were going to find trading action that was associated with an inside day, this is it. Lows hold, highs hold. Okay, we got a little basing out right here. Like I said, we dipped below the Globex. Now you're seeing the market trying to rally up a little bit here.
Could be trying to sucker everybody in though.
Yeah, no doubt. We're going to see if they want to keep it above the 83 quarter. 83 quarter is yesterday's low. Right in here, basically. So you have a low wick that took out the Globex low, and the candle closed higher. And this next candle is going to give us some more information about what they want to do with direction. If this candle closes above this previous candle, chances are we're going to see a rally back up. Again, the first 5 minutes, the low of the first 5 minute candle is 88.50. All the way back up here. That would have to be target one. Other markets look like they're trying to base out too, rally back a little bit. Cash, we're only down five points. Did I say there's only a Fed guy talking today? Of the Fed officials. Let me see here. Two of them, Williams and Mester. Oh, they have the beige book. Oh yeah, that's right. Today's Wednesday. Got my days mixed up. Today is Wednesday. The beige book at 11 o'clock. May get some more movement as we get closer to that 11 o'clock hour here for the beige book. 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time for us here in Los Angeles. Price is in no hurry to climb back up, it looks like. What's our 240 looking like? My goodness. You guys see this? Look at this. Literally had no closes below this area on the 240. Oh, okay. Yesterday, Monday, somewhat. But you're basically just floating above 83 here, getting no closes below it. Kind of indicative of what we've been seeing in the markets. This is how the markets will move up. You can see Similar price action in here. Basically, no closes below a certain level, even though we get wicked down below it. People get stopped out, but the overall trend is still intact to the upside. And this has happened multiple times on this rally up. Prices will make a strong move up and then have a corrective wave and basically sit sideways for a while before rallying up again. You can see in here you had some wicks too, but that actually failed right in there. But again, it came back down into some wicks that were just located below, and then you see price rally up. Base here as well, trade sideways and rally up. Difference being now is if you go to bigger picture, basing out here is different than basing out up here. Why? Well, this was the origin of this strong move. Yeah, you can say that this was also the origin of this second wave down, but you did see some reactions off of that, so there were opportunities to get short in here. But again, the market trades in a way that just basically takes it from extreme high to extreme low, and uh, that overarching bigger picture trend, you're going to see the market move to those levels. Uh, Even though in the smaller time frames, you're going to have those pullbacks. And so that's kind of where we're at now. Like I said, the difference being up here is that now we've spent a lot more time at these price levels than we had previously at any of those lower levels. And, you can see we had a nice reaction after making a new high, basically a pretty decent move to the downside, and then really no follow through to the upside yet. So just based alone on that price action, it's telling us that possibly we want to dip below these lows um, before moving up again. So just gotta be patient.
Patience is key.
Oh yeah, all we have as a trader, really. It's the only thing you can control is just your patience and um, when you get in, when you get out, kind of thing. Time are we? It's already 7 o'clock, and this thing hasn't done much. Probably not one of the greatest days to live stream for you guys, but that's okay.
We've got an 8 point day going on here. A real big winner.
Hey, 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 that's right. It is pouring outside.
Not down here yet. Not down here yet. It's lit up a little bit.
It may be coming.
Yeah, it's on its way.
Getting a little more movement. Looks like it wants to continue to push down a bit. If this holds and we can continue to push down, we've basically made lower lows and lower highs. Telling me that we may want to continue to push down. Nothing really to lean against right now for a short. We'd want to see a retrace up higher. Let's check our 30. Nothing on the 30-minute either, really. Let's go back to the 60 and leave it.
thing got about 25 minutes here before.
Got
Before
oil
market.
coming up. Hmm?
Yep. I said 25 minutes before this market better start doing something.
Possibly another wave down in here. This would be a more aggressive short right in here. Trying to short the lows and push it down lower. But based on this candle and this price action, you had this almost bearish engulfing. You would have liked to see it close below this green candle. Grab the little sucker. But it didn't. It closed right at it. So this type of trade is more of a, in terms of probability and odds, more of a 50-50 shot at this point. If this is going to hold for the lows, then this is going to rally up, and basically it's just dipping down back into the wicks and going to push up. If not, then like I said, this would be basically just a continuation. You have a down move, a little bit of corrective, and then a further push down. As we speak, it's rallying back up. Crude oil's down almost 2% now. Dollar's flat. Market's just waiting for the beige book, I think. Trying to rally it back up. VWAP 86. Two-point range up here, 2 or 3 point range. Back up at the Globex high, going into the market open. Let's hold off. Got first 5 minutes, 88.50 up to 90.75. The .D session only. See if prices can get back up there. We don't have any positions on right now, guys. We're just waiting to initiate something. We have not put on a trade yet. There we go. Popping up a little bit. First 15-minute low, 85.75. We're bouncing up against right now. Yeah, I couldn't even get into our area at 81. Literally ticked right below it and held. Look at volume. Not the cleanest base, but
No.
a couple fat volume nodes above the lows. A little inconsistent in terms of the distribution there. Price is now coming back down into this little base. what's that we have that SPY position on that strangle. What was that at? Should probably we only got a week left on it. We'll just leave it on.
Yeah. We're at 83% on that one.
Okay. If we can get volatility up, dang it. We can sell some more. It's just not happening. If we get a nice break below these lows, then we'd be cooking with something good. And we'd be looking at VIX probably up another couple points, getting closer to that 20 level. Anytime we have VIX over 20, I think we're good to go to fire those off.
Yeah, we haven't had VIX yet. We need to get some of those VIX on. Definitely need to get some of those VIX on. Well, it looked like it was showing some signs of strength.
And not quite yet.
The good old U-turn.
Right? Come on, boys and girls, let's do something. Okay, that didn't tell us much. This 15-minute closed exactly where the previous 15-minute closed. Hitting the bottom of that first 15 minutes worth of trading right in here from 90.75 to 85.75, that 5 point zone. Hitting the low end of that. Another consideration that you need to keep in mind um, when you're trading on these tight range days, these inside days, is the risk to reward ratio is not going to be favorable for us. You know, we like to take trades that are 3 to 1, 4 to 1, 5 to 1 kind of um, opportunities, and then when you have, you know, profit potential on days like this where it's less than 6 points sometimes, you know, 5 points, 4 points to an area where you can see prices turn, you're looking at 1 to 1 risk to reward ratio type of trades, 2 to 1. You combine that with these smaller time frames, not very high probability type of trading, but you know, we can't control the market, so we just kind of have to sit on our hands and wait.
Which sometimes is just the best thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no reason to force anything. Obviously, we'd like to get some trades off for the stream, but you know, again, we don't control the market. We're just here for the ride. The market is the parent and we are the child. We do what it says. Losing some steam. So we came back down into the low. These wicks in here. Let's see if we got anything a little more defined. Yeah, a little bit better in terms of getting that even distribution towards the bottom. I don't know if we're done going down just quite yet. You can see prices after they bottomed out, they rallied up, paused a couple times, and then basically had retracements as it edged up higher. The origin of this move that everything that price bounced off of is basically back down in here. That's possibly why we're seeing this thing stall out right in here. Come back down, come back down, come back down. Origin of the move is right in here. Yeah, I think we're going to continue to push down a little bit here. Make sure we have an alert up here at the first 5. We get back up in here, we're going to sell it. Gotta have your stop above that. Oh boy. Tempted to pull something else up just to look at it.
Then that's when the market will make its move.
Of course. Of course. Sitting on that Globex low right now. 81.50. So this candle just closed within this range, not below it. Are you gonna hold here? LOD, low of the day. There it goes. Got a new low on the day. Let's see. Back into this area. Look at this. You just got little pulse moves up. See if this wants to base now. Hold these lows that just got put in. Volume wise, a little messy down here. Continuing to push down a little bit, it looks like. Let's see, on that first 15 minute, there wasn't really a level for us to lean against. No, not really. Basically got caught back up into these wicks. That's why, I mean, we keep track of the first 15 because of this type of situation where you can see either the market, in this case, rally back up to it and then hold and continue to sell off, or on the other side of it, if prices were rallying up and then retraced back to the top edge of that first 15, uh, that's what we look for. But we got to see an actual level for us to lean against to define some risk for us to put on the trade. So it's kind of a two-step equation that we're looking for in that particular instance when we look at the first 15 and 5 minutes. Now with the first 5 minute, I went down to the 2 minute. You have some price action that we can lean up against basically to sell. With a slight gap that never even got filled. It did not get filled. 91 to 92, at least on this day session only chart. So that's why we're looking at that. This actually has, so this first 5 minutes actually has a price level and a structure that we can lean against to short. Whereas with the 15 minute, and I went down to the 5, but on the 15 minute, there was nothing really there for us to lean up against um, to define some risk. And why do we look for a price structure to coincide with that data point or that price point? Well, we're basically trying to find an area where we could initiate the trade, but also have a clearly defined area where we can put our stop above or below. And when there's no price structure that coincides with that we deem valid, um, it kind of negates the trade for us, and we just watch price action and let it play out and then wait for something to form for us. What we got here? We got 5 minutes. 5 minutes, and then we're gonna have to wrap up. Hey, this is what I was afraid of, but I mean, we're getting a decent little move down. It's about 10 points now, but just really nothing that we can, for us at least, to initiate on, at least yet.
We're not the kind of traders to just put on a trade just to show people that we can trade.
Well, no, 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 no. Yeah, that is a very good point. We're not just putting on a trade to put on a trade. We have a set of rules, setups, criteria that needs to be met for us to execute a trade and initiate. If it's not there, it's not there. I mean, again, we can't control the market, so you were spot on with that. You know what? I'm gonna pull up crude oil just because um, that's gonna pop off right now. What are we on? CL K 19? What it was? CL. CL. Screw it. Will you check that for me? For the what month we're on?
Yep.
Bigger picture on crude. Let's take a look. It's very similar to equities. Sell-off actually started prior to equity selling off, but basically back in November of 18, market dropped, crashed 35%, bottomed out towards the end of December, like we saw with equities, and then proceed to just go straight up. Now we're running into some trouble back up in here, basically going sideways, and we're going to see if this thing wants to hold or continue to push back down lower. Equities and oil risk assets typically uh, move in similar directions, and so you see oil start to fall off here a little bit. You're going to see the markets follow suit. Area of interest would be back down here at this 5250 area. Crude. What were you going to say, Tori?
We're still on J.
We're still on J.
Yeah, on J till the 20th.
LJ, got it. Thank you.
No problem.
What time is it? Got 2 minutes. Okay. Equities trying to hold. Two minutes. We're gonna have to wrap up this session here. Let's just wait until the number comes out. I actually have a little gap right here that it's hitting on oil. 55.50 right in there. See this thing move in a second. Yes, what are you doing? Nope. Still not have any legs underneath it. Pending data. Come on, load, TradeStation. My goodness. Load the data. Here we go. Market's starting to move a little bit. Or crude oil, at least. 7:30. Okay, what do we got here? Can you guys catch that number? What is the crude oil? Come on, load. I don't see it printed. Clearly the market likes it at this moment. The equity's trying to hold too. I don't see the number. I don't know where it is. I don't know why it's not getting printed. You can hear me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. Thought my internet cut out for a second. Equities have been a slight bounce, nothing spectacular. Crude's moving a bit. Still down over 1%. Yeah, that's the muted reaction. Came back up to this origin of this drop right here and selling off 55.90 from 55.50. Still don't see that dang number. There we go. U.S. crude oil inventories up 7.1 million barrels last week. Okay. Yep. All right. Well, it is what it is today. Oh, there you go. Mr. Equities continuing to move down. Right from the jump, this thing just slowly selling off. And now we're just continuing that movement. We're down. What are we down? 14 on the ES now. Okay, okay. Let's see if we can accelerate a little bit to the downside. Guys, I'd pay attention to this 70 to 75 area. See if this wants to hold in here. We're basically back in this base. You can look for some confirmation on the smaller time frames within this area. You see price action candles form in a way that looks a little bullish. You'd probably want to hop on board. Um, real quick here, just check this. Right, there we go. Get some movement. Ideally, we'd like to see a close below this 83, 84 area right in here, since we have not been able to on this 240. This 240 will close at 11 o'clock today, right as the Fed releases its beige book. Let's get a nice strong close below 70. That would be a pretty good spot for the bears. If this thing rallies back up above 83, I'm gonna. All right, guys, that's it for today. Sorry the markets were a little bit slow. Not much for us to do. Couple of opportunities, not really. I mean, pre-market, you see this reverse hammer candle. That was really all we had going for us. First 5 minutes worth of trading, we never got a chance and never came back up into that area. Still have price above that at 91 for a true gap close on this .D. But it clearly looks like the markets want to keep pushing down. Now you got oil continuing to move down. I was a bit surprised with oil inventories up that much that crude started to rally a bit, but gasoline supplies down 4.2 million, distillate stockpiles down 2.4 million. Gasoline supplies down, distillate stockpiles down, but crude barrels up. All right. Well, that's why you're seeing a mixed reaction. We'll see what this thing wants to do. But anyways, all right, guys. Again, sorry for the slow day. This is just the continuation of what we had yesterday. I think the markets are just waiting for the beige book to get released. But nonetheless, thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us. If you guys have any questions, concerns, feel free to shoot us emails. Jeff@simplyderivative.com. Check us out at simplyderivative.com. Our trading room is open. If you guys would like to join, get some more information on that, visit us at simplyderivative.com. Hop into our trade room, trade alongside of us 3 days a week. Much more in depth, much more, I guess, content, if you will, in the actual trading room with our other members, with me, with Tori. Really, we're looking at E-minis and day trading heavily in the futures, and that's what we do. And so, if you guys are interested in learning more, check us out, like I said, at simplyderivative.com. Be sure to give us a like and a follow on YouTube. Follow us on our Twitch channel where we're broadcasting this. We got two platforms that we're broadcasting these live streams that we do, both on YouTube and Twitch. Um, we're trying to shoot to do this multiple times a day or a week, excuse me. But we have to keep in mind that we do have paying members that are part of our trading room. Um, and so we don't want to just give away the farm in our live streams, but we do want to build a bigger community and get you guys involved and let the world see what we're doing. So, like I said, thanks for being here today. We'll possibly shoot for another live stream later this week, market conditions permitting, possibly on Friday. So be sure to look for that. Anything you got, Tori? Are you good to go?
Yeah, and also, if you guys are interested and want to learn more, we have the 5 week course that we're going to be releasing on April 1st.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's a pre-launch for the course right now. If you guys go to the site, there's a pop-up on the website, simplyderivative.com. Just enter your name and email, and you guys will join the pre-launch course waiting list, and you'll get special pricing on the course when it comes out. It's going to go live April 1st, you said. Yeah. So if you guys are interested in learning how to day trade in the futures markets, that's something that you'd want to definitely check out. You can have it as a resource, something you can always go back to and reference. But really, that's a stepping stone into the trading room, chat room, where we do this live in the markets 3 days a week. The course is great because you have it digital lifetime access. You can access it at your own time and learn, how we read the markets and how we take advantage of them and pull money out of it consistently. So thank you for reminding us. And yeah, guys. So like I said, thanks for being here. We'll see you next time. And best of luck trading today. Take care.